So January is notorious for not allowing you to start out the brand new year at the movies in the right way. But sometimes there's the rare exception that comes along and surprises you, and Jack Ryan's Shadow Recruit is definitely one of those exceptions. Jack Ryan is an ex-Marine and a covert CIA financial analyst brought into the fray by agency veteran Thomas Harper years ago. Now working undercover on Wall Street to detect financial crimes that could aid in terrorism, Jack Ryan uncovers a meticulously planned scheme to collapse the U.S. economy and spark global chaos. At the heart of this is Russian militant executive Viktor Shevrin, who is as ruthless as he is brilliant. With no other choice, Ryan is made fully operational by Harper and must now confront a new reality where no one can seem to be trusted, while the fate of millions rests on him finding the truth. So yes, you can call me very surprised that I found that this film turned out to be quite good, that the marketing materials, the trailers and all that didn't quite convince me that this was going to be good or not. It seemed like it was advertising a fairly middle-of-the-road film that could go either way down the spectrum. And then there was a whole thing with Paramount Pictures shifting the release date from a Christmas release to a mid-January release in order to accommodate that prime release date for The Wolf of Wall Street. And after seeing both films, I can entirely agree with Paramount Pictures' decision. They made the absolute right decision, moving these films to where they needed to be. Perfect choices for both films. And this film, after watching all the other 4 films in the Jack Ryan series and everything, I liked all those 4 films. You can go ahead and watch the retrospective I did recently, get my opinion on all that. But I found this film to be a good idea for a reboot. I thought they did what they needed to do with this, that they took the Jack Ryan character, the concept and all that, kept things very faithful to where he was, how he's always been sort of portrayed, his backstory, that kind of stuff, and made it more of an action thriller centric type of thing that would appeal to today's audiences without really dumbing down the material. They did a lot of good stuff that I found impressive, that I was very much pleased that they went and gave some real substance to a lot of things here, especially the characters in the film do have substance. They hold some weight for themselves. And they don't, like I said, they don't dumb things down. They keep it fairly good. I don't think the film is quite as good as some of the other films in the franchise, but I think they did the right thing going with this reboot. I think Chris Pine definitely fits very well into the role. I'll go a little bit chronological through the film here a little bit, because the beginning of the film is laying the groundwork, and it all works out towards the benefit of what they're doing with the story and everything later on in the film. But at first, like the first 20 minutes or so, just felt little vanilla. It didn't feel like it just felt little. It didn't grab me. It didn't hook me or anything. It just felt, I don't know if this thing's going to pick up steam. It's really going to grab my interest at this point. It just felt little less than compelling in that first act, where they're just kind of setting up who Jack Ryan is, his sort of motivations for becoming a Marine, and then what happened to make him not be a Marine anymore, and just show these little small steps that he takes, moving up to the point where he is now as a CIA analyst and everything. So it's good groundwork, but I think it could have possibly been presented a much more stronger, more impactful type of way that just kind of hooked the audience in a little stronger and everything. But once you get into the second act of the film, it really just it did click for me, that the film started getting stronger, started getting better, started gaining a little bit more momentum. It just felt like it was fleshing itself out, and really started just building up steam, and it really started to hook me. It was like, as I was watching, like, this film is getting better. It feels like it's building things up, paying things off, and it's doing a lot of good stuff here and there. And the film was directed by Kenneth Branagh, who's done amazing work all over cinema. Most people would probably know him that he directed the first Thor movie, and I love the hell out of that movie too. And Kenneth Branagh does do a fairly good job directing the film. That I like that he tries to add in a little bit of artistic quality here and there, a little bit more dramatic weight to it, a little bit here and there. It doesn't have as much weight, doesn't hold as much compelling drama as like Patriot Games or Clear and Present Danger or Hunt for Red October. And I think part of that is a little bit to do with the cinematography. It looks a little too sleek and polished, a lot of soft blues and everything all over the place. It just felt like if the film had a little grittier of a style, a little bit more veering more towards like what Philip Noyce did with his 2 films in the franchise, I think the film would just clicked a little stronger for me. It would have had a little bit more visual impact and what it was trying to do, because it's not terrible cinematography, not at all. There's just a few moments here that it would have worked a little stronger if the cinematography was a little different, and some of the action scenes, they're framed a little too closely. They could have opened up the frame a little bit. There's a certain way you can shoot shaky cam action, but you got to open up the frame a little bit more, allow the geography of the scene to be conveyed to the audience, that they can keep track of what body is moving where, who's doing what the geography of the action is. And it's not running rampant. It's like one or two scenes in the film that it does that, but it just caught my attention that could have opened up the frame a little wider, just given a little bit more comfortable space to stage the action within the frame. But on the whole, the cinematography is good. It's good, and there's nothing great, but you can see Kenneth Branagh is trying to get a little bit more artistic weight into some of the visuals, which I very much appreciate. That he does do a good job directing the film. Not a great job, but moving on to the acting, definitely Chris Pine. Like I said, I think he does a very good job with how they're veering the character off into this style of film. More of an action-injected type of adrenaline type of film, but they still make Jack Ryan not that super spy type of James Bond type or even Jason Bourne type. They do show early on in the film that, yeah, he was a trained Marine. He has a certain amount of skills that he does have, but he's also sustained a serious injury, which sort of impairs his physicality a little bit. And it works towards the style of what they're trying to do with the character, that it all makes sense in that way, that he does have a certain amount of skills, but he's not invincible. He's not this guy who's being able to take on all these guys and whatnot. Even taking on one guy with a gun is very much of a struggle for him. So I like that they keep that sort of quality to the character while still kind of amping it up just a few notches to make it a little bit more like Jack Ryan can hop on a motorcycle and go chase another car around the city streets of New York and everything, and it seems very believable for a character Chris Pine would portray. And Kevin Costner does do a very solid job as Harper in the film, the guy who's Jack Ryan's boss and mentor in the CIA, taking Ryan by the firm grasp of the hand and guiding him through the treacherous, dangerous world of intelligence and all these mission operations, and doing a very good job of it too. And once you get into that second act where the real meat of the plot does kick in, the actors do begin to flesh out and fill out the performances. The characters become much more dimensional, dynamic type of characters that you can really latch onto and feel like these are very well written, well-rounded characters. And Kevin Costner does a good job with Harper, making him a very convincing, seasoned CIA veteran, that this guy has had some things in his past that he regrets, there's mistakes he's made, and he's trying to take Ryan down the right path, keeping him this straight, narrow guy, trying to guide him in the right way so he doesn't make those type of regretful mistakes that he's made in his past. And that works very well. I like that quality of the character and like what Costner brings to it. And you also got Keira Knightley in the film playing Kathy Mueller, the future wife of Jack Ryan in this series. And I was very impressed by what she did. She had a lot of vibrant liveliness to her, plus intelligence to the character. Because she is a medical doctor, I like that you get the intelligence in the character, that it feels like a very convincing performance. And Chris Pine and Keira Knightley do work very well opposite each other. They have very good chemistry. They feel very much like a very genuine, real couple together, and it works. They both work very well together, top to bottom, flat out. And the director of the film, Kenneth Branagh, also plays the villain of the film, and Kenneth Branagh is a great actor. He's a damn good director, and he really excels a good deal as this villain, this Russian guy who's plotting all this great financial crises in America and this terrorist stuff. And he does a good job in the film. He has a certain menacing quality to him that he really holds his weight on screen. He does such a great job with just the slightest subtle looks and everything that just make it that this guy is a force to contend with to a certain degree. He's very intelligent, perceptive type of villain that has his own motivations. I don't know if it got lost somewhere within the Russian accent where I didn't quite fully understand his motivations for doing what he's doing in the film. But I'm quite sure it's there. I probably just lost it in some of the Russian dialogue. But regardless of that, Branagh does a good job acting in the film and directing the film. I think He's one of those directors that really can do that kind of thing. He multitask in those very large type of roles. And yet the film doesn't quite have as much weight to its political espionage intrigue type of stuff. There was much more the strength and backbone of the other Jack Ryan films, that they explore them in a lot more depth and detail, and really the substance of the pieces really grew out from that. But I think they did a really good job establishing the franchise here, establishing a reboot that was very good, not exceptional or anything, but it's a good, solid start to what is hopefully a new franchise for the character. And the action is very satisfying in the film. The action does service the plot. It never takes over the film, or is ever action for action's sake. It really does service the plot. There's nothing spectacular. You're not going to walk away from it being like this is some of the best action sequences you've ever seen, but they service the plot well. I like those qualities of the film. On the whole, I thought Jack Ryan's Shadow Recruit was a good, satisfying action thriller that I thought this is definitely, if they're going to reboot this franchise and take it in a certain new direction, this is the right direction to take it in. Might not be everything that a Tom Clancy fan is hoping to find in a Jack Ryan film, like A Clear and Present Danger or whatnot. But for what the studio would want to do, this is what they would want to do. This is what they would need to do to make it successful in cinema these days. And I would definitely recommend you going to see this. This is in a month of January where there's a lot of crap dumped out in the theaters that's just horrendous. Just, fucking crap. This is a nice breath of cleansing air to really go watch this, have a good time, enjoy it. Get past that first 15 or 20 minutes where it's a little kind of flat and meandering, just kind of building up the little foundations and stuff that does pay off later. Get past that, you'll get into a very good type of action thriller that I would definitely recommend seeing. I'm glad that I started out the year on a film of this kind of quality, and I hope it only gets better from here, but we'll see as things progress. Post some comments below. If you've seen the film, what did you think of it yourself? How do you think it measures up to Tom Clancy's novels, the other films in the franchise? Do you think it's very faithful to how Jack Ryan should be portrayed and represented in film? Whatever you got on your mind regarding the film or the franchise in general, post it down below. Spread some links around, like buttons, all that great stuff. When I have another video to post up, you'll see it here, obviously. So until that time, when I can get another video for you, just keep enjoying what I have to offer here on this channel, and take care. Bye bye.